Welcome to BrotoGP. This is episode number 102. Bizarro Jorge strikes again in Austria. You watched that race. Pecco in Moto 2, but a little bit later in the episode, BrotoGP, BrotoAmerica happened in Sonoma, and we'll get to some listener questions at the end. So let's get this one going.
There's a couple reasons this is going to be a good episode, guys. Not just because my man Ev is on. Is he below me? Is he above me?
He's below you. He's below you this time.
There's Ev, my partner in crime at BrotoAmerica. But everyone listen up. Rob is fucking pissed. I don't actually know why. Some work-related stuff or whatever. But today he told me he yelled at someone on the phone. I've known Rob for years and years. I've never seen him raise his voice ever. Like... He's like the dude in Anchorman, like who was getting mad. He can't actually get mad. Like you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Right. Normally,
wait,
Rob
not Steve Carell. Not Steve Carell. You're God damn it.
Yes, that
I do love Lamp. That's how this amazing lighting is coming to you from all the lamps.
My plan this episode is we'll talk about lots of stuff. We'll talk about like Redding's going crazy and then his weird apology and what our real plans are for him. We'll talk about how Kyle Wyman is actually Venom. We talked about that on my Instagram stories, and we'll get into that later. But go to our stories and just click. You'll see it. But getting Rob to be mad on air I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's my sole goal in life right now. So this is going to be a fun episod.
Hey, someone has to be the villain. Someone has to be the villain.
That's usually me.
Got to be the villain.
Yeah, but that was a reference of shades of things to come. But before we get there, let's talk about Riders Law for a split second here. I actually have some photos of really awesome Riders Law liveries on track at Sonoma this weekend. Of course, I'm gonna start with myself because I'm full of myself, and that's how that shit goes. But no, Riders Law, they're your California motorcycle accident injury lawyers. If you need legal help because you got swiped by a car, something bad happened to you, please give Riders Law a call. That's Riders Law with a Z. If you'd like them to continue supporting a race team and getting these awesome racers on track, please give them a call. And of course, if you want to see them continue to support BrotoGP, call them when you need legal help. It'll really help out. They're amazing lawyers. They haven't lost a case in like 3 or 4 years is the thing that they told me. And of course, they actually do not charge anything unless you recover money for your injuries for the legal help that you need. So please give Riders Law a call. They'll help you out. They're racing in Pittsburgh in 2 weeks. We were just at Sonoma just now. Jackson Blackman actually got his first Junior Cup podium of the year. I got a picture of him here. He got 3rd place. He actually managed to drag the guy to the line out of the final corner, which was a pretty awesome battle. And everyone just like jumped up and ran across the pits, and it was freaking amazing. Yeah, give Riders Law a call and support them, and they'll support us, and we'll keep it going. But
the real question though is, did they go to Harvard Law?
Yes.
Actually, fucking Cy probably did. I have no idea.
I actually don't remember where he went to school.
Pretty laid back, easygoing guys. Like usually people associate lawyers with like people they don't want to be around, but these guys are like being around.
I thought he went to Upstairs Hollywood Medical School. There's my Simpsons season 3 through 9 reference for the day already in there.
Yeah.
I haven't. Wait, that's Dr. Nick, right?
The red thing's connected to my wristwatch. Oh boy.
Is Dr. Nick still around? I feel like I haven't seen him in a newer episode. This is terrible.
That would imply that I'd even been interested in a newer episode.
That's a good point.
Simpsons. We've already discussed this. The Simpsons peaked at the Armin Tamzarian episode. It was all downhill from there.
That's the Jump the Shark episode.
Actually, no. The actual Frank Grimes is the actual episode where they peaked because they put a character in who was the audience to recognize how stupid this whole thing was, which was the plan, by the way, of the showrunners, was to ruin the show. So, not unlike it was Marc Marquez and Repsol Honda's plan to ruin our season, We all thought Frank Grimes was the villain of that episode, but he was actually the hero because he rose to be the villain that we needed. And Jorge Lorenzo is the Frank Grimes of this season. He's here to fucking let everyone know Marc Marquez is an idiot.
Well, we already knew that, but yes.
Right.
I didn't expect that conclusion out of you, Kev.
He does a lot of dumb shit, so that's an appropriate statement.
That's the thing, right? Like, remember what Frank Grimes said? Like, you have a son that owns a factory and like a daughter in pearls. Like, Marquez doesn't crash. We don't know why. He can ride. Like, he does things you're not supposed to do. And Frank Grimes is the first one to point it out and say, no, just what I don't want to have happen is I don't want Jorge to grab the high voltage electrical wires to prove something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He's currently not on that track. So Jorge Lorenzo may be becoming the villain that we actually need in MotoGP because he's now offsetting Marquez and able to take these wins.
Oh, absolutely. And we've been talking about this for how long? 2 years, 3 years? Like, we've been asking him and begging him to become the villain, and he's finally like kind of, is he naturally doing it, Kev, or is he doing it by like a default? Like, would you even call this? Because he's not
doing
trying
it by the how it's happened is he's been required to, because that's how you have to ride the Ducati, right? Like they even said, you simply can't. I mean, he did get wins leading from the front, but that's not how you're going to do it 9 times out of 10. You have to correctly ride the bike. You have to come to terms with it. We saw his little, picture of ideal track, and he wrote 2018. It was a square, right? Like, everyone still said that basically riding the Ducati is like racing a square. He's just simply accepted that fact and come to grips with that. And now what do you see? You see him riding intelligently in the beginning and then willing to take hard, close, bar-banging racing to Marc Marquez to unsettle him and take advantage of that Ducati. I mean, Marc Marquez was gunning for that. He had the pole position. He was racing hard, but he's sort of been forced to become that guy. The moment he got that tank, cover or whatever, so that his dad bod fit in it the correct way. Like, I'm pretty sure like that was to rest his gut a little bit.
Yeah.
No, he said he needed to be able to rest more during each lap. So we got to assume he was talking about the gut. Yeah. Well, Kev, do you really think that it's just the Ducati and the riding style that's causing him to be the villain? Because I feel like the villain is more of an attitude and not necessarily just on track action.
I mean, because the whole, like, once he signed with Honda, the like pressure is off. He's freed, right? Like he's freed in the sense that there's nothing to lose at this point. He got his win. He's just ready to like let it hang loose. And you saw that. And now it's almost like, see, you fuckers, you signed fucking Danilo Petrucci. Like, I had to go begging to my arch rival to be his teammate with Alberto Puig. I mean, his disdain for Puig goes back to when him and Danny wouldn't even like look each other in the eye, and the King of Spain had to get involved. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, I forgot about that.
Right. That's like a thing that happened, right? Like, because he's a royal douchebag, but by accepting the fact that he's a royal douchebag, he's come full circle. 2.5 years ago, not even that, 3 years ago, I said that if he fully embraces the villain, people will cheer him for it. And what do we find? Everyone's saying, I'm fucking cheering for Lorenzo. Like, the jokes of like, holy shit, I cheered for Lorenzo, I feel dirty. But like, ain't nothing wrong with feeling a little dirty from time to time. You know what I mean? Like, you got up early, no one was around, and you jumped up and screamed when he passed fucking Marquez on the outside. It's okay, bro. No one saw. It's okay.
Yeah.
You got to shower afterwards. You'll be fine.
I mean, cheering for Jorge is like riding a scooter. It's like super guilty fun. You just don't want your friends to see you doing it.
Yeah, well, there's other analogies out there too, but
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I neglected to say that one. I am not drunk enough for that one.
We're keeping a little PG. We're keeping a little PG today. Yeah. Well, I was also going to ask, what is your
cheering for Jorge is like finding out you like getting your salad tossed. You don't really want to tell anyone, but it's fucking awesome.
I can't imagine anybody not liking it. I mean, define villain though, Kev. I mean, what is making Lorenzo such a villain? Like, why is he a villain?
because like we all wanted to hate. We took so much fun in hating him. You know what I mean? Like the joy in hating him. But then because he was like this smug, annoying, forced like celebration. He beat Valentino. You know, we all kind of hated him. He's the most punchable face you've ever fucking seen. And then we all kind of cheered, right? True. Then he signs the biggest contract like ever, right? For Ducati. He goes there. It's a dismal year. He gets a third last year and he cheers like he won the fucking championship for getting a third. I mean, third is barely a podium. That's not even a real podium. You know what I mean? Like, that's not
personal. It was a personal victory.
Right. Right. He's a three-time world champion is celebrating a third like a personal victory, right? But then we all realized that, like, we saw this at the beginning of the year. Marc Marquez looks so great in testing. He's going to ruin the season. We're super bored. We all hate his fans. You know what I mean? Like, Marc Marquez is like all teeth, no substance. It's just like fucking close your gums once in a while, bro. You know, the coolest thing that ever happened with Marc Marquez was Scott Redding getting his shoes, and he still had to stick the tongue out in the picture. And so Jorge finally comes along, and he wins, and then he starts winning like in interesting ways. He battles Marquez. We're all cheering for it to happen. He's a villain in the sense that we hated him, and we loved to dislike him. Like, you enjoyed disliking him. But now,
it's the transition from where he was to where he is now, right? If we didn't hate him before, he wouldn't be the villain, because he's not actively trying to hurt people on track like other people. Yeah, and he's not talking shit.
A little bit.
Well, he talked with Dovi.
He's
with Dovi.
A little bit, yeah. Shit.
Which is part of the villain, right? Because Dovi is like, you know, he's Ducati Moses, the Promised Land, all the stuff last year, like. And then so everyone loves Dovi. No one dislikes Dovi. Like, even like the most hardcore Marquez fans don't like dislike Dovi like they dislike Valentino, right? And like, because Dovi's like an everyman. And then here comes Jorge talking a bunch of shit about this guy. We're like, well, we all like him though. But then he backs it up. And then in the process of backing it up, he's potentially dethroning Marquez. He's showing that it's not just Dovi that had Marquez on the last lap, but maybe Marquez is losing that psychological advantage. Like I said, it's like getting a rusty trombone. You don't want to tell anyone you're into it, but man, you hope they play that.
The two things that probably define the villain role the most.
Don't make me say it.
No, don't. Especially if you're a small child that listens to this to go to sleep. Do not do it. The two things that define.
If you're that 14-year-old kid that I saw in Sonoma that told me you love the show and it's fucking awesome, I'm pretty sure the first time you ever said fuck was that day. Google rusty trombone.
Don't Google it, kid. You don't want to know.
Ask your mom.
The two things that define the villain role for me. Hold on, Ev. Is Kev, one thing that you just said is that he's the antithesis to Dovizioso, right? He's actively taking shots at Dovi. Everyone loves Dovi. Like, he's just the nicest guy in the paddock. To be the opposite of that, you have to be the villain. And then the other thing is he's taken this anti-Jorge Bizarro sort of role, right? If we didn't see the change in his style, if we didn't see him become this other rider, I wouldn't have made that connection. I would have just said, oh, it's just awkward Jorge, like, randomly talking shit about the guy that we all like. But now, because he's doing it on track as well, I'm going to go with he's actually got the villain role solid now. I want him to see it. I need him to do it more, though.
I think you guys both made good cases and arguments, so I appreciate that. The other one that I think is really the big piece is that we're just getting so sick of Marc Marquez. So anybody else beating him instantly makes him a villain, since he's such a he's the actual Dorna golden boy, golden child manufactured personality, right? So anything beating that is kind of a villain because they're bucking the establishment, but the fans love the villain, right? So that's what's so cool about it.
Another thing, right? Like the whole time, like, I need a new tank, like I need a tank cover, like, and we're all just like, what the fuck? You need a $25 piece of like Bondo that someone made in their garage.
You need a Weight Watchers subscription.
This can't be it. These are $100 million teams, and these are $1 million motorcycles, and you're telling me that the shape of the tank is not quite trapezoidal enough for your cut? And then he's totally right. Like, what the fuck? He's saying, like, we all think it's this excuse, right? Like, he's blaming, well, I'm not comfortable on the bike. And I'm like, who the fuck is comfortable on their bikes right now? Like, it's no one's Marc Marquez he's gonna crash nearly every turn. Maverick hates the bike, Valentino hates the bike, Scott Redding sure as fuck hates his bike. Like, no one actually likes their bike. And then you're like, oh wait, totally was the tank, and now that I got a new tank, I can win. And then he instantly says, like, hey, if they fix the mid-corner speed, we're gonna win every race this season.
And ironically, right after he signs his reps,
right after he says that, they win 2 in a row. And it's the same time that everyone was saying, like, well, if all the boos only make Marc Marquez faster, and if you actually want it to be entertaining, you won't boo him because then he won't run away with every victory. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, straight up. Like, no, it's not. It's actually that we needed Jorge to get a $16 piece of plastic from, like, Hobby Lobby, glue it on with some, like, Gorilla Glue, and suddenly he's going to win every single race.
It's unreal.
To be fair with Jorge winning, Marquez is probably getting less boos. So
it's true,
because he gets booed when he's out front. And these last 2 performances by Ducati and Dovi and Jorge winning have probably helped out the situation quite a bit. I haven't really heard him when they're in Parc Ferme. I haven't watched the feed all the way until they go up to the top of the podium. But I don't know.
Here's the biggest concern I have as a spectator and arguably hardcore fan, right? This sucks. We're losing the guy who's finally really a true champ. As much as we love Dovi, he's the people's champ, kind of, hopeful people's champ, right? He's never been an alien. We finally get an alien.
You're generally called the people's champ because you're not actually the champ.
Yeah. I know. So, but that's what I'm saying is, like, Dovi, we all want to root for him, but I don't know how else to say it, but does he really maybe just not have the talent? And now that somebody that does have the talent, like Lorenzo, a multi-world, champion, he's walking away from the ride. I almost wish Dorna would go fucking cancel the contract and be like, no, dude, you're staying with Ducati now. Like,
but that's actually what makes it more compelling for me, right? Like, the storyline, this dude is leaving Ducati, no fucks given, and he's taking it to the guy that's going to be his teammate next year. So not only is he studying and learning everything about the Honda as he battles him the whole race, he's beating his ass on some, like, Ducati that can't even have their sponsor on the side of it, and he's going to show up next year.
I know, but
I'm awesome.
Mike, I'm concerned though, because he's going to hit the reset button, and we've come to learn that it takes about 2 to 3 years to learn these new GP bikes. So I'm a little worried, dude. 3rd manufacturer in 4 years. We can make some side bets. We can make some side bets.
Kevin's been shaking his head no the entire time.
I got a lot of hobo dollars.
Huge.
I got a lot of hobo dollars.
So first off, it doesn't take 2 to 3 years. Maverick Vinales won on the Yamaha his first race on the new bike. He won 3 of the first 5.
We talking championships, bro?
Okay, well, championships, sure. That even if you win a championship, I don't know, but, like, I'm talking about, like, I don't care if he wins the championship. Like, Marc Marquez is the best rider on the grid. I just want to be at least fucking entertained. I know that when Thanos flips his fucking fingers and kills. Like, I know Black Panther's coming back. Wakanda forever. Wakanda. But, like, I know he's coming back, but it's still entertaining to at least, for a moment, think, whoa, what if they just stopped the rest of those movies and were like, yep, Thanos won. That'd be fucking rad, right? Like, for a moment, I'm totally stoked the fact that there's this dude who can beat him. There's more than one guy right now who can beat him straight up. And now that guy... Like, I've said this a million times, it's all about the story. That's why we don't go watch club racing, even though it's exciting, close racing.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the storyline of him winning against the guy who's going to be his teammate has made this more interesting. Like, look, Marc Marquez still actually increased his championship lead, right? Technically.
Yeah.
But
that's why he didn't care.
That's why he didn't really care that much. But the storyline now is way more interesting, despite the fact that he's probably going to run away with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's dude, don't get me wrong. It's hard to argue in current year. I'm saying for next year, I'm hopeful. I'm a little concerned though, that he's going to be as fast on that Honda as fast as, to your point, Vinales was pre-tire change. So
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're more concerned about Dovizioso because you want him to live up to what we thought he was going to do this year.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, that's one of it. Hold on. I do think that Lorenzo showing up has really challenged him in a way that's put additional pressure and all these other things that came with it. Right. Last year he had no pressure. We talked about that. So it's an interesting dynamic, and yeah, we'll get into Dovi here in a second.
So we call Dovi like Ducati Moses because he delivered them from like fucking Egypt, right? But he never actually got them with a promised land. What you needed to save you from your sins was a guy that you actually hated, a guy that you actually thought, this can't be right. He can't be the guy. We got to nail him up. Jorge is Ducati Jesus. He's Dorna MotoGP Jesus. He's the chosen
That only works. That only works if he wins the title this year.
Jorge 3:16 says, "Thou now shall not doubt the dad bod."
Wait, has anyone paid attention mathematically? Could he pull it off?
I think they're
plenty of races. I mean, especially if
they're all still in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
he's in third now.
No, here I said this a couple episodes ago that if he goes to Honda and wins, he's actually like the GOAT because he beat the two contenders for a GOAT in their prime on the same bike.
I agree.
What did I just say, Rob? Like, we talked about this. Jorge is learning to win by letting it all hang out at the end of the race and battling, which is exactly what you need to do on the Honda, right? Like, the Honda requires you to muscle it around, a new style. Jorge is inadvertently learning, because his hand is forced, how he would win the Honda. We saw that you can't exactly rely on the motor because the Honda's fast as fuck. We saw it, right? They weren't out dragging them like crazy. He is being forced at Ducati to learn everything. This is his 40 days in the desert, and he's being tempted by the devil himself.
I was going to say, we're going with the biblical reference on the journey. Desert.
Exactly.
It's not working out at the moment, but we'll get there to the Repsol is the
right. He is going to deliver fucking Repsol Honda from their sins. That is Marc Marquez.
I mean, that was my point in the last episode, was that Jorge did something that wasn't very Jorge-like. And it seems like he's built upon that in this race. He actually didn't get sucked into Marquez's tactic of pulling out front. Like, Marquez put the hard rear tire on the bike, thought he could pull away, and hoped that he could manage the gap until the end of the race, and he wasn't able to accomplish it. And Jorge kind of just sat there, let him pull out about a full second, held off Dovizioso kind of coming at him from behind, and then Rob
Sextape coming at him from behind.
Ooh. That's why I paused a little bit. I was waiting for you. And then
he left room for the laugh track in there.
Yeah, and then Jorge pulled the pin, pulled up like Marquez kind of made it easy for Jorge and Dovizioso a little bit to pull up on him, and they were able to battle for the win. So it's very anti-Jorge. I honestly do think that he's learning a significant number of skills this year that will translate over to the Honda. Do I really think that he's going to be able to battle for wins right away against Marquez on the same bike? Not necessarily, because I think the Honda still requires another step in riding style that he's never done before. But at the same time, we're not like, this is a new Jorge. We're talking about how he's a villain. We're talking about bizarro Jorge, anti-Jorge. We're talking about his race tactics being different. I think he's going to step into the Honda knowing that he's got to ride it differently ahead of time and kind of accepting that new style right off the bat. And he'll do it faster than he did with the Ducati. With the Ducati, it took way too long.
Well,
Jesus was a carpenter. He probably built a hell of a house. He was probably the dopest carpenter. You know what I'm saying? Like open beam ceilings, like Douglas fir decks. Shit was clean. No one talks about his fucking carpentry skills because at one day he figured out how to turn water into wine, son. That's what he's learning right now. How to turn water into wine. He's making miracles. He's bringing people from the dead, Lazarus and shit.
Yeah, no one remembers.
Is learning miracle shit right now.
No one remembers the.
Ducati hasn't had a season where both their riders won multiple races ever. Fuck the pop filter. ever. They have literally never had that.
Why you get mad at the pop filter, bro?
The pop filter's trying to hold me down, just like we were trying to hold down Jorge, not realizing that he was the fucking chosen one the whole time. The whole time.
Dude, he just pulled fuck, what's that?
No, you lost it. No, I mean, Kev's right. No one actually remembers the individual
Episode's
races.
over.
They remember who wins shit. They remember who wins the titles, right? So, I mean, or they'll maybe everyone in 5-10 years will remember Jorge kind of coming back from 7th in the championship to get closer to Marquez here, but I kind of doubt it. They're just going to remember like, oh yeah, he was at Ducati and he sucked the first year. The second year he got some wins, and then he went to Repsol, and that's where he really did something. That's where we saw him do what, live up to the champion at a different factory. Right? Because that's what everyone wants to see.
Because making fucking water into wine, dog, wasn't what we all remember him for. That was just a cool footnote, son. It was fucking coming back from the dead. That's what he's gonna do. He fucking just sucked last year at Yamaha, then he went down into the dumps, and he comes back from the dead, and then he vanquishes the devil himself, Marquez, right there in front of everyone, wins the title on Repsol. He's the greatest of all time. We all are in such awe that we all stop working out. We have like 19 donuts for breakfast. We all get the perfect, just fucking
dude,
the dad bod.
I had some donuts over the weekend. Thank you, Writer's Law.
Oh man,
I cannot go for the dad bod.
Dude, it takes work to create this. Okay,
right.
Me and Chris had a long conversation about that fact. But here, let me throw a wrench in your plan here, Kevo. What if?
All right, F dog.
Thank you. Minor conspiracy, throwing a wrench in your plan here. What if Jorge puts enough pressure on Marquez to freak him out near the end that Marquez does his typical shenanigans and overrides the bike and starts crashing out a bunch?
Or the team screws up a tire change, fails him, doesn't.
Jorge wins the title this year. I will straight up say it. I will admit it in front of everyone. If Jorge wins the title this year, somehow, some way, he's the greatest rider there ever was.
Whoa! Shots fired.
I have no. I say he will have, I'm on record right now as saying it. He will have beaten Valentino in his prime on the same bike. He will have beaten Marc Marquez in his prime. He will have brought Ducati back from the brink. He will have left a better team to go to a worse bike in one. He will have crossed off all the things required, which was beat like fucking Ric Flair said. Right? You want the 10 pounds of gold over your fucking shoulder, son? If you want the strap, you gotta to be the man. You gotta beat the man. That's for Knack. He asked me if I could reference Ric Flair every episode. 102 episodes in, without fail.
Yes. But I think there's a real possibility. That's what I know. That's a big bet that you're making, and you think it's because it's a low probability.
It's not a bet. I will openly. I don't like Jorge, but I will say if he beats Marc Marquez in a dogfight straight up on the Ducati, after beating Valentino, and he's already beat Marc Marquez straight up on the Honda. He beat Marc Marquez after Marc Marquez went fucking 14-win season or whatever that was, 12-win season, right?
Yeah.
He'll have beaten Marc Marquez straight up twice. Like, you can't say he's the best ever if he gets beat straight up twice by another guy in his prime.
I love the bold statement.
71 points in 8 rounds. That's what we're looking at here.
But all Marquez has to do is crash out of 2 of them, and Lorenzo has to dominate about 5 of those 8 rounds.
Oh no, I mean, if Marquez crashes out of 2 of them, we got to assume that Jorge's totally leading the title.
And that's my point. Is I think it's totally plausible that they could get in contention. We could see a great Valencia battle, which that could go either
again.
way.
He fucking took it down to the wire and beat him at Valencia.
I know
yeah.
Dude,
all right, we've spent way too much time on hypotheticals.
But I just got really excited about the back half of the season all of a sudden, even though he's way ahead in points.
I got really excited about the back half title of Rob Sexton.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I like that one.
Did we cover the Marquez piece, and do we want to just hit Dovi real quick?
No, let's hit on Dovi a little bit. You said you were worried about him, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all.
I ain't scared, son.
I'm worried that Bruno was basically a flash in the pan fluke one for him. I feel like
Wait,
now
the
that
movie? Wait, the movie Bruno?
no, Bruno.
Oh,
Bruno
okay. Thank
Brown.
you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Wait, don't you have a friend that like owns that track?
Whatever. I'm American.
You
I get
should
away with all
you
sorts
should
of dumb
pronounce
shit.
the name correctly.
Yeah, my nickname with them's Shower, so they just think I enunciate the word shower strangely. So that's.
I saw Bruno on a midnight showing.
Wow.
Wait, which one? The race or the movie?
No, the fucking movie. And I go, and I'm like, I go to see that movie, and I'm out with someone, and it's like 2 seconds in, it's a singing dick, just a fucking dog, right? And the urethra is just singing like womp 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 womp. Like, I love it too, because we spent this whole weekend talking about how this show needs more sponsors because we want to take it to the next level. We want to travel. We want to interview more riders. And I'm like, yo, remember when that urethra was singing live on camera? This is a dick, by the way.
Oh boy. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I just I'm only looking at the Rob side of the screen right now. Splooge.
Back on topic. Let's bring this reference.
I just feel like he's had the pressure. And then it's all a confidence thing. He's just had so many poor results, throughout the kind of middle of the year here, that his head's just a mess. He finally got the one together. That's great, but then I think really this Lorenzo resurgence is really just fucking with him. So.
These last 2 rounds were significantly above average for him for his finishes, right? He doubled his podiums in these last 2 races, and you're worried about him just because Jorge won another one.
Yeah.
I mean, weren't you more worried when Jorge had won 2 when Jorge had won and matched Dovizioso?
No, I think
no?
I was still where Ducati was struggling, not Dovi was struggling. I feel like Lorenzo's actually. My point is, you're now seeing with Dovi's dominance last year and then Lorenzo actually emerging as the primary rider now. I think it's showing that Dovi really doesn't have the talent at that, again, the alien level talent. And I think I can only see the insecurity that creates.
He just won a race.
I don't care, man.
And he got 3rd, and the only reason he got 3rd was he fucking got caught up in a little melee at the last second, had to blow the corner. It's not like he wasn't on the podium and in it to the end.
I know.
I actually blame Jorge for Dovi getting 3rd entirely. The middle of the race where Jorge was holding up Dovizioso and Dovi couldn't like run his style. I think he was burning up both front and rear tires trying to get around Jorge, and that's kind of what sealed the deal for him. Just like in the weird, I mean, we hinted at this, right? But just like in the last race, the pace was a little bit slower right off the bat, and Jorge didn't really try and go as fast as he possibly could. Marquez tried to pull away. Jorge didn't bother matching it, and both Ducatis should have saved pace, should have sat there, but Jorge ran a little slower than Dovi wanted. Dovi wanted to get by, wasted some tire. I blame Jorge for this one. I'm not blaming Dovi waning and not having the talent for it. He won last year in Silverstone, didn't he? Where is he?
This is a track they should have done 1-2 at. This is not a track where they should have been 1st and 3rd.
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, 3 years into it, the track has always had close racing. Every race has been somewhat close. He barely beat Marquez last year. They didn't 1-2 last year. Remember, he dive bombed, but Marquez dive bombed. He barely beat him at the end last year. And
Danny Pedrosa got 3rd last year.
Right. It's a Ducati winning track, but it's not a Ducati dominance track. Honda has definitely upped the motor. The bike is a lot better than it was the last 2 years. I don't know if it's the best. I think you can make an argument that Ducati is the best right now just based on the wins. Yeah. But, it's not like he wasn't in it. He was close the whole time. He was battling, and he ended up having to run wide in that right-hand turn, and that sealed the deal for him. But he still got he still got 3rd. He just won a race. He's still doing well. And, we all said was last year's multiple wins a flash in the pan? He had his Donington win, then a huge drought. Then he won in Sepang in the rain. So he had another, mixed, weather conditions. He's won 2 races. He won Qatar this year, and you know, everyone's up their game, or not everyone. Nice. Is that Citra?
No, this is Pearl.
Every, you
Still
know,
got them backwards.
you know, the Hondas have upped their game, or Marquez upped his game, and so has, you know, so has Lorenzo, but yet he still has multiple wins this season. Yeah, I mean, he has proven that last year wasn't a fluke.
No, he's gotten better, and it goes back to the years on the Ducati have made him better on the Ducati, especially. I would love to almost see Dovi change to another bike, but that's a different topic altogether. We could rant on for a while, but not
going to happen.
I still see glimpses of kind of cratering, and that's where I just get kind of like, I don't know, man. It's just a gut feeling on the whole thing. I don't have good facts like you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like Dovizioso before last year, we expected even less than this of him, right? Like we always thought he was the rider that would never push hard enough to battle for the wins.
Right.
And if he did, he would crash out. We saw that when he was at Repsol Honda quite a few times. He got a grip of podiums,
or he didn't,
but he only got
like
that.
He didn't have like the ish to battle, right?
Yeah.
He would settle for second or third. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Like I remember a race with him at Motegi when he was battling for the win, and he just they threw it away. And like those kind of performances happen more often than not. Last year comes along, it raises our expectations considerably of him because he managed to get so many wins. But now, I mean, he has 2. Ducati is coming up to the second half of the season where they generally go a bit better, and the only thing that's going to stop him from getting those wins that we expected that we saw last year is the fact that his teammate is strong. But I don't think he's less strong because of it. If anything, he's doing better. I expect that all their race times are faster. Maybe not the last one at Brno because they didn't push very hard. But the Ducati is a better motorcycle. He's using it well, and I think he will get another win or 2, just like Jorge is going to. I mean, honestly, I kind of have Ducati penciled down to have more wins than Honda and Marquez this year. Yeah.
Yeah, total.
Certainly with Danny's performance and them having to rely on Cal, like Argentina. You throw Argentina away and it's just Marc Marquez. I mean, the Ducati is balanced, and to me, I don't think Dovi is slumping or not doing better. Dovi is like, this year, if we took out last year, we'd think, wow, he's continuing to improve, right? Because he never had a multi-win season. So we don't know where he's going to be. But I mean, Jorge just sort of jokingly said, I don't know if it was joking or not, but he said, look, if there's one thing we have to fix, if we fix that, Ducati wins every race the rest of the year. And he wasn't wrong about the fucking tank, bro. At this point, I can't not believe him.
You're so stuck on that.
It's hard. It's hard.
Well, that's kind of my point, though, is he's going to be overshadowed by Lorenzo, too, I think, throughout the year as well. I don't know, man. To your point, if Dovi should be winning,
they're 1 point apart.
But why? I know, but dude, look how bad Lorenzo started the year, and look at him now. And that's my point is,
look how bad Dovi crashed in the middle of the season, right? We can keep playing the what if game. All right, no, we gotta move on.
All right,
we gotta move on. I know you guys really want to talk about this. I actually didn't see the blow up, but we got to hit up the Scott Redding debacle with a bunch of people are asking about it. Yeah. So what, Kev, tell me what actually went down. What did he say about Aprilia?
He gets like a press conference and they ask him and he just unloads. He says the bike is a piece of shit. It doesn't matter what they do. He said, I might as well only do FP1 and then qualifying because no matter, excuse me, that's a lot of wine in a half an hour. He says that like I should only do FP1 and then qualifying because no matter what we do, the bike sucks. He'll be like, I'm having problems with braking. They'll fix the braking problem, but all that will happen is a new problem will arise. Like 6-1, half dozen the other. And at this point, like their practices are fucking bullshit. The bike sucks. It doesn't matter what they do. It's a piece of shit. He unloaded. It was like a 9-paragraph expose on basically Aprilia can fucking eat a bag of dicks, right? Like,
wow. And in a press conference,
not a press conference, but an interview. But it was like on the record, just I'm saying shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like a legit formal interview, and he went on the record basically saying, And because I think the guy was asking about his performance, and he's like, "Well, my performance sucks because the bike's a piece of shit, my team's a piece of shit," and like just went on this fucking like.
I'm gonna pull it up while you're talking. Ev.
Basically, instead of him admitting like and just taking the blame, which that's what riders do in this team sport, is he basically threw it back on everyone, and the frustration just came out of, "Hey, I don't even like running around in 20th place. You know, I got Aleix over here running around in 10th, 11th. Like, I don't know how he does it. He's got the same shitty sport I do. I guess I suck, but my team sucks too, and this bike sucks." And it was just like a holy fuck. Whoa, dude. You have made it to GP. Like, this is like the forbidden thing you do. You do not do this. And he
Okay, hold on.
He had
I got
he had
you.
the
Hold
BrotoGP
on.
interview.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, and we'll get to this because
record.
Josh Herrin told me jokingly on Sunday that isn't it hilarious that now everyone wants to swear on your show.
Yeah.
Right. Which, by the way, I walked up to him privately on Sunday and said, like, thanks for, you know, like being who you are and being like cool with what we do and like supporting us and stuff. You know what I mean? But his joke was funny. Right now, everyone wants to fucking swear on your show. But here we go. It's been a fucking horrible weekend. When the conditions bring the machines together, I can see my potential. I can be fast. It just reminded me of how good I can actually be. I just accepted this year. I'd never had a wet session. But then this weekend was like, yeah, you can mix it up with the best guys in the world when the level comes down a bit lower than the machinery. Then it dries, and I'm fucking out in the field again. To be honest, to have a race like this is heartbreaking because I try all the time, and it just doesn't get any easier. There's always a fucking problem with something every weekend. I tried to accept it and try to deal with it, but honestly, it's a disaster, and I'm not happy. The weekend is a reality check for me. Riding it around here in this position hurts. Now I have to go to Silverstone the next race. I have to smile in front of everyone and say I'm going to do a good performance, but it's all bullshit because you can't do anything. You cannot make a piece of shit shine. I know it sounds harsh. I shouldn't say it, but that is what it is. You better make something average be better. Asked if this problem related to the fact that he's leaving Aprilia, replied, no, it's nothing to do with that. These guys are trying, but it's just a joke. There's so many things I'm not even allowed to say in a team this level should not be happening, but it's happening. I come here, I can be fast here. I make a good results in the past. I like the track. It suits my style. I thought I could come here. I've got a good chance to make enough result for the rest of us. And it was hell from the beginning. Then we find out yesterday night that there was a problem with the sensor, this, that. The suspension is reading different than what it's doing. Fucking hell. This is a MotoGP full factory team. Why is this happening? I've got problems with electronics all weekend. Cannot get it to work. So what do I hope to make a result here? I can't. And this is what makes it hard at the moment.
Oh, damn.
Real talk, son. Salt, bam.
You just salt bait that guy. No, I mean it's
bad.
Those are all the things that we've kind of heard in private slightly from other people, right? About in other rides and whatnot, right? It's when shit is breaking, when it's mechanicals, when you try one thing and nothing ever works, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that you don't expect from a full factory team. You sign for factory Aprilia because you expect them to be slower, but you expect everything to just work. You expect their development process to focus on you, for them to build the bike for you. Yeah, it sounds like,
but you don't. You're getting paid big bucks by a factory. You do not air your dirty laundry like that, dude.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think if he had edited that post a little bit, just like pulled out 15%, it would have been perfectly fine, and he would have gotten what he needed to say out.
Dude, he is going to be banned from the
explain something here, okay?
You explain it all you want, man. He's not going to be in GP probably ever again.
Like 100 millennia ago, when humans didn't have language, the natural shape of our lungs, esophagus, upright bipedal stance, and expression meant that when we express surprise, pain, desire, or shock, the natural sound that we create is a combination of, in the English language, an A-H, or an U-H, a sort of a combination of the both. Right? That's the sound we make. Every single language and culture in the world has a swear, curse, whatever word you want to call it, exclamation that involves this specific vowel-esque sound that we make due to the shape of how we exhale. There is no way around it, okay?
What is it? What is it in English, Kev?
Right. In English, the most perfect translation that covers shock, pain, desire, sexuality, and excitement is fuck. Okay?
I mean, I know, but I just
most,
wanted you to say it.
It's the most inherent word in the English language, and it's based on our most inherent human exclamations you could possibly have. So when a dude is exasperated to his very core, the idea that he should censor the most inherently human exclamation he could make, fuck that. Okay, this dude is at his wit's end. He races motorcycles. I rode on the back of Chris Ulrich's bike, and I was like, it was the most fucking shitless scared thing I ever done. It was amazing, right? We'll do a whole episode about it. It was fucking awesome. But like the fact this guy risks his life and limb to do this, he's at his wit's end. So he starts dropping F-bombs everywhere. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter how, like, it's not inherently wrong to say this word. It's only inherently wrong to casually say it in the place of a more eloquent word. But when you're down in the dumps, dirty, natural, raw, human, unfiltered, there are times when just dropping fuck or fucking or it's fucking bullshit over and over and over isn't crude, but it's actually human and emotional to the core. So
let me stop you there, Kev, real fast.
That's not the issue. The word.
Yeah, no.
The mentality of that frustration. Like,
no, not even that. No, but when I say editing, I literally just mean a little bit of the content. Like I want Scott Redding to be human. I want him to swear in these frustrating interviews. I want him to continue to do the shit he does on social media. I feel like if he had just taken a little bit of the spice off of the things where he insulted the team,
the blame game,
then he would have gotten away with it.
Correct.
Like say fuck all you want, but but you can't polish a turd. Like, yeah, that one was probably good too. Like I would have let that one slide, but there were some other things in there where he was like calling the team a joke. Right? Call the motorcycle a joke or well, maybe not even that, but don't call your coworkers a joke. Don't insult them personally.
That's right.
And then he would have gotten away with it. Like be angry. I want to see that.
Yeah. And it's just a bad look at the professional level at which he's at. I mean,
I don't think it's a bad look.
Oh, dude, it's a bad look.
The inherent difference.
He wrote an apology within 2 days.
Here's the inherent difference. So we'll get to that apology and whether it was forced, coerced, whether it was honest,
doesn't matter, really,
genuine. I think it does, but this is not actually a factory team in the way we traditionally look at it. Aprilia factory supplies Gresini a team. Yeah. Gresini has, in interviews recently, all but explained that it's not really like the team's issue, but what they're supplied. So what we have is like a fake factory team. We have
I like that choice of words.
We have it's fake news. We have a situation where Gresini, a well-oiled, well-run team, which has won which has won championships in the lower levels, which has won significant number of races with multiple riders at the MotoGP level. What he's talking about is Aprilia itself, but he's not specifically talking about the team in the same way. When Vinales throws Yamaha under the bus, it's different. He's talking about the factory team itself. But Aprilia doesn't run a factory team in the traditional sense. They supply factory equipment to an established team because they were too cheap to buy their own slots on the grid. So they just sort of like took over Aprilia. We see some rumors on the grid that they're not going to actually re-up with Aprilia in the future because Gresini is a team that's used to winning races and doing well. And
they're arguably one of the better teams to run that factory.
Right. They're a well-oiled machine. So now, he did end up apologizing specifically to the team. He posted a picture that was both bikes, the team, Malaysia, all that. But it's not throwing the factory. He's throwing the factory under the bus, but not necessarily the team in the same way.
That's the thing, though, is if you're just someone reading those quotes or a bunch of our listeners hearing about that, you're not going to get that distinction. And that's, to me, the part that looks bad.
Yes, you are, because I just fucking explained it.
If you're a listener.
Well, okay, so a bunch of our listeners will, but there are plenty of other people that won't get it. And I mean, and yeah, we've talked about that before with, especially with World Superbike, right? There are fake factory teams, especially in World Superbike. Aprilia is the lowest supported factory team in MotoGP. And yeah, they had to make their way in by buying they slid into the DMs of an established team and kind of got their way in there. But it's just like especially when he was talking about the sensor on the bike not working, right? Like a lot of that comes down to who assembled the motorcycle, who checked to make sure that those parts weren't past their mileage, because everything gets replaced. We hear that Ducati is making, last year's bike for such and such team, and everyone thinks like, oh, it's going to save them money because they're, they can just reuse parts from last year. Like, no, those bikes at the end of the year, they get tossed because they can only put so miles on the frame before they're no longer usable. The same thing goes here.
Right.
Like, yeah, someone had to assemble that motorcycle, someone in the team, and Scott Redding was inadvertently also throwing them under the bus. And that's the only part for me that looks bad. Like, yeah, I'm fine with him insulting Aprilia.
Throwing someone under the bus correct? Yes, it's a team sport. Yes, it's not. But what happened this weekend, speaking of apologies and throwing people under the bus? Yamaha showed up and basically trotted out some Japanese guy, handed him a katana, and he just fucking stabbed himself in the gut right in front of everyone, right? They basically apologized to their riders live on TV for giving them a shitty bike. Every time we're ready to throw Maverick under the bus, it turns out he's right. Is Scott right? And now he feels bad because we've seen his Instagram, right? Dude. He's an emotional guy. He flies by the seat of his pants. He does crazy shit. I would rather, as a spectator, as someone who pretends to be a journalist occasionally on random Saturday afternoons, but I'm not
a big deal.
I'm just a shithead like the rest of you. I just know Rob, and Rob likes to program shit. Like, that's the only difference. Right?
Well, what about me then?
That and I'm super handsome.
You've got a good producer.
But wait a second. Where you're going, he didn't need to say that, dude. We've been watching Aprilia run around in the back, and Aleix run around mostly in the back. And when he's in the front, he usually crashes out because he's overriding the bike. He didn't need to say it. It's like, dude.
Yes, well, same thing with Mav. Yes, like we see that the Yamaha's failing, and he still said it.
At what point, after how many years of Aprilia running their fake ass bullshit and him getting sacked early on and all this stuff, does he say this fucking bike eats ass,
my career,
and not in a good way? Like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's this bike sucks a bag of dicks. Like, and he just said it, and he was brutally open and honest. Like what Redding dropped right now was it nuanced? No. Was it well thought out? No. Was it pre-planned? No. But was it honest? Yes. Was it interesting? Fuck yeah.
Fuck yes.
Did it give us a window into his soul and what he was thinking and who he was as a man? Hell yeah, it did. To me, at least. Like, sometimes when you, like, that was an unfiltered poem that was never meant for, like, publication, but someone saw it and published it, and I'm fucking glad they did. That was like a Bukowski poem. That fucking... You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't
know what you mean, because
you don't know what I mean by that.
We're not as all cultured as Kev. Okay, Rob, I'm with you, but
I do know what you mean.
There's two perspectives here, right? There's the fan perspective, and then there's corporate management perspective. What he did as fans, we love it. We want more of it. But as Aprilia factory and the people paying the checks and giving the rides out, I'm telling you, he is now fucking blacklisted, dude. He will not be in GP again because of that. And
I think he was already not going to be in GP, so I don't think it matters. But let's real quick here. I hear you two have more plans for Scott Redding.
Right,
and
this
I feel
is
like
the
we need to tell people.
That ever happened. Because
one at a time. One at a time. Kev.
Ev, can I take the lead? Can I take point on this, Ev?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love you, Ev.
I know.
Okay, so what we found out is Scott is the fucking realest dude ever. And he feels, man, like Dennis Leary said, like in the cockles of his heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a No Cure for Cancer reference. You got to be hella old to know what I'm talking about there. He feels and he cares. He cares so much about winning. Like Alicia Spargo doesn't give a fuck. He's like, oh, end of my career, Aprilia. I'll just circle around on a ship bike, not say anything, put a fucking smile on my face and collect my paycheck. Scott Redding is like, fucking hell, I just want to do something. I just want to like impart something on the world. I just want to win. There's an open seat in MotoAmerica right now, the Yoshimura bike. We need to get what I'm telling you right now. We've all seen his Instagram. We all know who Mad Dog is. We all know the grills. If you don't know who it is, literally go watch his Instagram. By now, we've gotten the like or the click. Keep listening, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, we need Scott Redding. We need Mad Dog. We need motherfucking Dino. We need Billy the Goat, and we need his old dog in an Airstream getting towed by like an 87 F350. He's gonna he's gonna be in MotoAmerica. He's gonna race the races, and in between races, he's gonna fucking road dog that fucking Airstream trailer across America. We're gonna stick a fucking reality TV show camera team in there. He's gonna get in shenanigans. Like, Dino is going to be looking at like an America tour, and he's like, where the world's biggest fucking potato chip is in bumfuck Alabama. And Scott's going to be like, I'm going to bite that shit. And they're going to go and we're going to film it and see it. We're going to see the realness of fucking mid-20s idiot with a grill and bleached blonde hair, but he's not an idiot. He feels deep, son, and he knows stuff. And just because he's not academic doesn't mean he's stupid, because he's wise beyond his years, and he's going to travel the heartland, and he's going to go to Laguna, and he's going to go around, and he's going to see the world's biggest ball of twine, and they're going to try and steal it. They're going to run away with it like it's a fucking screaming beast. No, I'm still going. You can't know.
We're losing you. We're losing you a little bit. Let Ev talk for a second.
Go ahead.
I think he, the idea there is just that he's the most entertaining guy next to Josh Herrin. I mean, shit, if I had my perfect world, I'd put those two guys on a fucking team and unleash him to the world. But if we can get Redding over here and he can bring his social media presence and his personality to the paddock and MotoAmerica, I mean, I think it's a fucking winner. I don't know anybody who wouldn't tune into that shit.
Yeah, I mean, there have been other motorcycle racer reality shows before, and they just kind of petered out there. But they were not Scott Redding.
It's not about a motorcycle racer. It's about a man looking for a new beginning, looking for a fresh start in a new land, a land of milk and honey and prairies and wheat and real people and the salt of the earth.
With a goat.
We're talking about America.
Dude, it would be, I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of both BNTV and MotoAmerica as a series, and if you're Yo Suzuki, I mean, you got to get him a little polish up on the shit talking of your own team. But, I mean, he's going to be fucking worth his weight in gold. Like, he will come here and be a top rider. He'll instantly be in the hunt for the championship, make no mistake. And he's just going to be a fucking media sensation because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we got one listener question here. Danny Moley from Instagram wants to know, or he wants us to talk about his 2019 Aprilia Superbike ride. And I brought it up because that's not going to happen. But this is a bit more likely. Just a tiny bit. We'll get him over here to MotoAmerica.
The production costs are so low. Like, so low. Go on Craigslist and look up Ford F350 diesel. It'll be like $6,200. Get an old Airstream from some guy in Mississippi. Strap that thing up. Scott Racing, the best part is don't even give him a license. Just have him drive. So the episode where he gets pulled over by some cop and then we have to explain the whole thing is fucking writes itself.
It does.
Everything about Scott is transcending motorcycle racing in in the way I'm almost joking why go race motorcycles? Go be a model. Right? Luke Rockhold in UFC did that. He just didn't fucking fight for a year and a half and he was a fucking Calvin Klein model. Scott Redding, understand that You are America in every sense of the word. The guy is American as apple pie, as hot dogs. We covered that last episode. Go listen. He like everything. Like I don't want to hear people saying, give the ride to some young American up-and-comer. Fuck that. This country was founded on people looking for new beginnings, and that who Scott Redding is. That is what he personifies. Bleach the right side of his head, leave the left side normal, throw him in a grill, get Mad Dog in the front of that thing, make it like a 3 on the tree stick that he doesn't know how to drive. That's a whole fucking segment itself.
Dude, I just realized you need to get one of those Instagram images of Change My Mind of Scott Redding should ride MotoAmerica Suzuki factory.
Right.
Change my mind.
Oh, we'll do that. We'll do that.
That's a really good idea. Because so you and I are in 100% alignment. Rob, are you in alignment that it should be an outside international sensation like Scott Redding? Specifically,
if we're talking about the actual Yosh ride and being more serious here,
yes.
I'm not entirely sold. I kind of want.
I fucking hate you so much.
I know. Let's move over. Let's move over to Bronoma, i.e. BrotoAmerica, in Sonoma. Obviously, BrotoGP was huge in Sonoma this weekend, and they're asking me about the Yosh right now. I don't know.
David Hasselhoff in Germany, we was big in fucking MotoAmerica.
We were 50% of the journalists. Okay, I mean,
that did happen.
You
can watch the post-race press conferences on Facebook Live for Saturday, and you will hear Pro Kev and Pro Ev do some pro things.
2 out of 4 questions.
Fucking professional, dog.
2 separate press conferences. 2 out of 4.
I was already showing the picture of me following JD Beach around on track. Right. I look like I'm in second place. That was not.
Dude, just show your grandkids. They won't be able to look that shit up. It'll be perfect.
That's true.
This guy's factory.
My Google footprint will show this.
Yeah.
When you Google search my name. No, I mean, I want the Yosh ride to go to someone that is not like footing the bill for a team. So Scott Redding fits that bill. I want the Yosh ride to go to, someone talented and exciting. Scott Redding fits that too. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really made up my mind. Like, I almost want DeBees to get it because we want the 600 racers to move up to Superbike to kind of keep the whole talent progression going. But I'm sure Kev has a rebuttal here.
Yeah. Okay, look, I know what it's gonna be.
Randomly, we saw Josh Hayes, and I asked him if he wanted to talk about some stuff. I told him this like anecdote. It's a pretty funny interview, but serious interview, and I feel like Josh wants to talk more about it. I would love to have him on and talk like real. You know what I mean? Because
he wanted to grab lunch with you. He said,
I would. Go to our YouTube page and listen. But Josh Hayes had an interesting point that the farm system in America, which has traditionally been the club racing system, is broken. That guys will just run track days. They don't want to race. The competitive fire is not there. Ev and I talked to our boy Berto. If you don't know what we're talking about, it doesn't matter. About how the lack of discretionary funds is killing our club system.
Racing.
Club racing, right? Sorry, I have like 3 things I'm trying to work into this. I don't need to move someone up because right now the entire system of moving up is broken. If you were to tell me that America can become a melting pot of foreign riders looking for a new start, to me that's fucking as American as it gets. Okay,
let me stop you right there. I totally failed at doing the first point, and I did more the second one because DeBees is not. He's not born in the United States.
He's not American.
He's very French. He is the melting pot, right? He has Moto2 World Supersport experience. He came over to the United States, got on the M4 X-Star Suzuki team, and is doing amazing in 600. And I want to see him move up, and then he'll still be that guy. But he put in his time in MotoAmerica, right? And he the fans already know him over here because he's won races and he's done all that stuff. I guess the same is also true of Scott Redding. Anyone that watches motorcycle racing knows who he is.
Super interesting, and we talked to this guy Brian, who's I think it was like Brian V. He's a freelance photographer. He does a lot of video work for them, and he talked about the best interview we ever had to edit was where Valentin was dropping F-bombs left and right because that's just how he talks.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that would be bad, but what I'm saying is that a rider the caliber of Redding, Moto2 winner, MotoGP podium, Moto 125 winner, everything that comes with it brings eyes, because what Redding did when he dropped this bombshell of a interview was he brought eyes to him, the team, the situation, in the sense that wasn't there before. Do I want riders to be able to move up? Sure. But right now, like in most of racing, there's not enough quality rides per the manufacturers. If you watch MotoAmerica 600 race, Valentin Debis got handled by JD Beach. Handled. So is he ready to move up? I mean, fuck, if we're talking about moving someone up, move JD up to that thing.
Move JD up. Yeah.
Right, because Valentin, like, we saw Garrett Gerloff move up and he's made very little impression. I'm not hating on the kid.
His interview, he's got a lot to learn.
He's got a lot to learn. Josh is currently better. Cam is way ahead of him. Tony's still good. Like, I don't see right now that MotoAmerica Supersport has proven to be the level up. What I am seeing is someone who did well in a foreign series coming over can do well. We've seen Skoltz win a race, right? We also saw him call himself a dickhead and said his fake race was fuck hoss, which is my new favorite word.
Fuck hoss.
Right. I'm not sold on guys moving up right now from MotoAmerica. I'm sold on the 600 class expanding with more teams and more rides.
Take it.
Yeah. I get the dilemma, right? Because Rob being in MotoAmerica and racing MotoAmerica and an American fan base, the concept and American organizers who want to see an American back in MotoGP, they see this as their feeder series to get someone back there. And if they can't get somebody progressing up through this and enough people, right? Because maybe it's not Cam, maybe it's somebody we haven't seen yet, is their concept. I get that argument, but I reject it. I'm with you, Kev, that I think there's more benefit to a series in its infancy, and it probably isn't Cam, as much as I'd like to see him go to World Superbike. I would rather see Redding come over and create what we all talked about and we all agree on, a storyline in a series, and bring awareness and exposure to MotoAmerica. If Redding comes here tomorrow, the series is instantly boosted. Boosted.
Cam, look, I asked this in the press conference. I asked Cam, you hear rumors of foreign riders being interested, Bradley Smith. He admitted right there in the press conference to us and the three other people in the press conference that you're supposed to laugh there, Ev. That was a joke.
Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Right. That, yes. Tony coming over caused him to raise his level. He's a better rider. Cam is the American hero, like, kid that we can root for. Let other guys come over and battle. Like, the heyday of AMA was not a bunch of weird, insulated, homegrown Americans that all, like, right? It was not that.
Inbred rednecks.
Right. There was a time when we saw Mladen and fucking Hodgson. Like, there was all kinds of people in AMA. AMA used to be the place where foreign riders wanted to come. The Daytona 200 was a huge, like, all of this stuff. It's cool, Ev. I still love you. Like, I want a more influx of riders because of that. We already have our American hero. It's Cam. He rose to the occasion. It almost looks assured that he's going to beat Elias. Let's have more. Let's have all these storylines. Like Hayes said, if the farm system is broken, while we build that up, let's fucking steal from everywhere else and let's make this. I mean, everyone loves an underdog, right? Everyone loves an underdog. If we can turn the entire series into a fucking crew of underdogs who are unfiltered and raw and awesome, let's cowboy the fuck up. Yeah. Like Bon Jovi said, on a steel horse I ride.
I like how you said steal from other places, because we talk about that a lot with like the electronics technicians in MotoGP and stuff. That's exactly what happens there, right? There's only so much talent on the planet. You got to take it to take advantage of it. You steal it from another series. So yeah, if we can get more MotoGP riders over here, it'll raise the level of the series.
Yeah.
I guess I was a little more optimistic. I was kind of hoping that MotoAmerica was closer to that point where we could build the talent ourselves. But yeah, but another one or two Tony Eliases to make sure that our Superbike champion can go over to World Superbike and, you know, put it on the box in the first race. Like, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, and Hayes said that this Hayes interview was really great, right? He hit on so much stuff over 10 minutes, but he said that too. You know, there's great riders everywhere, right? We've got great riders here, they've got great riders there. Like, great riders will race great riders. It's like, I don't know if I 100% buy into that, man. It's like, if you send Cam over to MotoGP today, he's not going to run around in first place. Okay, so let's keep it all in perspective.
You're only as good as the fucking enemy that you need to beat. If we, right, like, that was the whole Cold War, right? Like, we put men on the moon, invented nuclear fucking bombs, all this crazy stuff because we had a fucking enemy that we needed to, right? If MotoAmerica turns into just a bunch of dudes from the same area, like, traveling on the country, hamming it up, that's not going to raise anything. If we suddenly turn into storylines of Cam is saying, look, man, I'm leading the charge against this foreign onslaught, y'all need to fucking raise your level, right? Like he did at Sonoma, where he ran away with it. He fucking vintage Lorenzo'd it up in front of all those guys. You saw Tony Elias in that press conference, and Tony Elias looked like fucking someone slapped his mom. You know what I mean? Like,
he didn't know what to do.
He didn't know what to do. He was in that rear tire. And Josh Herrin was just like, fuck, I don't know. You know what I mean? He's just fast as fuck.
I did my best.
Did my best. Like, we don't need a bunch of, like, right now, I'm not going political, but right now in the world, a lot of people are insulating, and like, all around the world, people are trying to insulate back. You see all this stuff. And it's not even just in, like, Western culture, but in other cultures too. You see more and more people wanting to splinter off, make their own little mini countries, and all this stuff. It's bad news, man. Like, the storyline is better if we like Yoshimura, that's their new identity. We fucking resurrect the careers of foreign riders, make money off that. GP1 is covering MotoAmerica right now. That's an Italian fucking MotoGP like website track, right? Covering. They're posting about Elias. You're telling me all that stuff. Like, I don't even need Cam to go over to, just like we didn't need Mladen to go over. Right, even though Mladen was Australian, but he was very American in the life he was living. Right, like,
I didn't actually know when I first started watching AMA. I didn't even know that Mladen wasn't American.
Perfect.
Like, that's kind
of
how.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even want to know Redding is American. I just want to know Redding is awesome. I just want to know he's fucking dope. That's the thing. So when people tell me that I get nationalism, I get pride in your culture. It's all cool, man. It's all fucking gravy. But when I see a farm system that's broken, and I see a system that can't get the motocross kids over to road racing, and I think, like, I see that we see in GP, we see certainly in World Superbike, that there simply isn't enough rides for the talented. And I'm looking over and saying, here's an open ride that is a race-winning bike off the bat, and there's a couple of riders. Fuck, throw Tom Sykes on that bad boy.
That would be sick.
Reinvent yourself, bro.
Sykes or Redding would be probably the two contenders for me. But, you look back at how Tony even got there, and wasn't it originally Jake Lewis's ride? Then he broke his leg, and then Tony. Mm-hmm. So do you think it might, and then
he drew blood, so Tom Brady'd him.
And then, but I know, right? But then you think here's where it gets a little bit deep and a little bit unfair is that kid's riding really good too. And he's actually on the satellite M4 Suzuki, team, and in theory that team should be feeding up to the factory Suzuki team, right, from the M4 team, and he was their guy they picked, and now, like, he's still running pretty good. What if he was on that ride? He is taller than you, which is shocking.
I do wonder if the satellite team, the M4 team, is actually getting, like, more support because Jake Lewis was on that ride, and then he kind of got slid sideways after the injury.
I don't know who Jake Lewis is. If you're a MotoGP fan and you're listening to this show and you're like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Jake Lewis is like 6'4". He has the fucking greatest mullet you've ever seen. I think he only wears skin tight cutoff shorts and sandals, and he owns it. Your girlfriend would fuck Jake Lewis right in front of you because he fucking owns it. He's the man. He's so fucking hilarious. Like another character. What I love, right? What I love to see him on.
He's gonna take that. That's gonna be his intro to everything he does now.
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? Like
there was some shit. He's from Owensboro too. He's from the land of the Hayden family. Right. Yeah. Oh. No, I'm pretty sure him, Nick McFadden, and I think there's one other racer in the MotoAmerica paddock that's also from Owensboro, and they ham it up. Last year I was like cruising around like via Virginia or whatever, and they were like chasing us down in a van. And never mind. I shouldn't even tell this. Can't even recollect this story well. The stories you can't talk about. No, I mean there are a lot of really entertaining characters in MotoAmerica, and that's one of the reasons why we showed up, why like I made time to do those interviews, why I got these guys to show up and do the same thing, is because we need to show you all these people so you'll be more entertained. I've said it before, motorcycle racing is a freaking reality show where they also race motorcycles, right? You don't watch the reality show for the stupid challenges they do on the beach. No, you watch it for
you didn't watch the fucking Aussie family show because he was still putting on good concerts, right? You watched it because his fucking idiot kids were screaming, you know what I mean? Like,
and because he had done way too many drugs previously in his life and couldn't speak properly anymore.
That's right. And this is another example, right? Like Matt Skoltz comes on the show. We're like, oh, well, can we interview you? And before the interview, he's like, hey, like, what kind of interview with this? What do you want me to say? And I'm just like, say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. And he's like, all right, cool, man. I was a fucking dickhead. My race was fuck off. I crashed. And like, I'm pretty sure I can do a hell of a lot better than that. You're telling me that Scott Redding doesn't fit into that? If you put Scott Redding, Matt Skoltz, and Jake Lewis on the same fucking tour, what the fuck is gonna happen?
I'm buying tickets to that show. I don't know.
Right, and then you have like Kyle Wyman, who's like the most genuinely cool, nice guy I've met like in forever, and he's just gonna look at it and be like, he's gonna be the straight guy. Like he's gonna turn to the camera and look at the camera and be like, what is going on right now?
Like get a fucking lawn chair and a beer out and watch.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's gonna be like, can you fucking believe these assholes? This is ridiculous. Like.
Yeah.
There was a time.
There was one other racer. There was one other racer that I talked to afterwards, and I actually asked him like, or we kind of were talking about an interview and talking about like, oh, like, yeah, you know, how often do you get to say real stuff? Because they really like the fact that we just tell it like it is, and we don't censor, we don't kind of play the game. And they were like, oh yeah, like all the time I end up saying like, oh yeah, thanks to the team, the bike was perfect, I'm sorry we couldn't put it on the box or whatever. And I'm like, wait, was the bike actually perfect? Like, no, it was shit, but I couldn't say it. And like, that's like
shocker.
Shocker. But I was a little shocked. I thought people could be a little more honest than that. But hey, when you're on television and you've got a big sponsor behind you.
This is the other thing I noticed when I talked with Kev about MA is every time when Valentino Rossi gets in front of the camera, he doesn't thank fucking Yamaha, movie star, whatever, Suzuki or Yamaha, whatever, blah, blah,
they
blah.
They fucking thank him for allowing him allowing them to be associated with him.
Correct. And it's such an inverted thing in the American series where it's like we have to, and in the interviews, you were like, wait, do I have it right? And they were like, you have to say this, or I'm under contract to say it this way. It's like, okay, first of all, that's where this thing's all fucked up. You guys should not have to be doing this because there's not enough presence on the videos that people are where you're getting interviewed. That's not where they're getting it. They're getting it with the big fucking logo on the side of your bike and on the side of the fucking mover driving across the country. Like, come on.
But it happens in Supercross is significantly larger than road racing, and I feel like that's the most offensive one in terms of thanking your sponsors, right? They are contracted to say all those names of their sponsors. And like, you know, riders like Ryan Dungey are huge. Like he was on the side of a Wheaties box, right? Yeah. You wouldn't think that he would need to do all that. You wouldn't think that you would think that he'd be more like Valentino Rossi, where they would just put him on the Wheaties box and that'd be good enough. But so road racers are, road racers are even more at the wheel. But it's a cycle, right? It feeds into it because that shit gets written into contracts. Like sponsors think that they can ask for that every time. The series is devalued slightly because of it. Because the series is devalued, the sponsors definitely write that into contracts because they can't get as much.
Whole like thing, right? Like when we did interviews, I'm like, I'm gonna talk to the people that I think are fucking cool, right? I'm gonna talk to the guys that want to,
and the ones we could find.
Small disclaimer.
Well, yes, small disclaimer, but like no, for reals. I walked like who was the first guy I walked over? I walked over to Kyle, right? But not just because he runs, he kind of runs his own team. They still have, Lucas Oil, they got a title sponsor, all that stuff. But because he runs his own team, I can ask him if girls don't have balls, how do they pee, right? Because pee is stored in the balls. We all know that. And he's cool
going
with
on
it, right?
with the pee
There's like a thing. It's not. What do you mean a joke?
Dude,
what?
This is fact.
This is
right,
human anatomy. But the point is like, look, man, by talking to him and being interested, involved, I'm showing who he is as like a person, a man, a racer, all that stuff. Like it bring like by humanizing people, you draw eyes to it, and if you draw eyes to it, like you draw eyes to the sponsors. Why do we all love Valentino? Because we all love Valentino because he's like a real man. He's genuine. He's old school. Yeah. He talks about back when it was more romantic. Why do we dislike Marquez? Because he's corporate and factory and manufactured and all that stuff. Like that's the common thing. If you allow people to be themselves, they will be genuine. And genuineness, like it's a human connection that allows it. Like Kyle, like he joked, like he said, I'm going to interview you, Rob, because my fucking Friday sucked, bro. I'm having a hard time with the tires.
Blamed it on me.
I feel like I lost 2 years of data. It's hard, and he's telling me it's hard. I feel frustrated. Like that's way more dope than, the mechanics gave me a great bike, but I just can't. Of course, the mechanics gave him a great bike. They're his mechanics, their crew. They travel the country together. Of course, they gave him a great bike. That's not even like a question. Those guys work their asses off for that. Of course. So when Matt Skolt says, fuck, my race was fuck Haas, I was a dickhead, by saying I was a dickhead, that's it. That's backhandedly saying I fucking dropped the ball for my team. That sucks. And that to me thinks, wow, this is a guy that's in a better, more interesting way, because it makes me think, wow, this guy cares. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so when Redding tells me that I fucking rode in the wet and suddenly I remembered that I was fast and then it was dry and it wasn't, it's like, wow, that's some conflicted shit. Like that makes me think about him.
That's some fake news because nobody else was trying because they knew it was going to dry up. Ooh.
Don't knock him down a peg right now.
But even then you could say, was he fast? I don't know. But what, like, so, there was talk, like, I'm not trying to throw shade, but it was like, we said, oh, let's try to go interview Roger. And I'm like, no. Like, what's he going to say? He's retiring. He doesn't want to say anything weird. If the race isn't that good, like, are we going to have good talk? Like, can we talk about pee in the balls in the same conversation that we could talk about, like, I really want to try and do better. You know what I mean? Like, can we run into guys and they just tell me shit like, oh man, what's up, bro? Like, I really hope today's going to be good. And I'm like, I hope today's going to be good too, bro. For reals. Cause you're a cool dude. And the cool dudes I want cool.
It's probably going to suck because that new tire is fucking you up.
Right.
I mean, well, that's one thing that I got with my interview with Tony. He just unloaded about the stuff that him and the team are struggling with. And I felt like that was almost a transition over from the more European sort of acceptance of motorcycle racing, right? He told me all the technical details that I was going to nerd out on, and then because he started off without me even asking, I went for another question on it. He talked about it, and it was like, shit, like we actually got some good information there. So yeah, it's totally like all these riders, they can be super interesting if we just let them be, and their personalities need to come out, and we're going to have a good series because of it.
He responded, Tony responded in a very professional and articulate way, even with the language barrier there for him. You could tell he was willing to talk about it because it was exactly, and I think the team would have been okay with it because it was representing the team's challenge too. He was a good ambassador of that program. I mean, that was...
Yeah, he didn't need to drop F-bombs to be entertaining.
Yeah.
He just he told it like it was.
Tony didn't need to. Other writers might, as long as they say it within the context that no, I'm not joking, Rob. I mean, like, that's the point, right? Like, there's certain writers that express themselves in certain ways. That's not his way. could see his body language, man. In the post-race press conference, he gets third, and his body language is just pure like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but
you
I
can
think
see it.
I
Like-
think the difference. Hold on. The difference though is Scott was very raw emotion, and he was throwing his team and the factory and everything else under the bus and blaming everybody but himself. Whereas Tony was basically saying we are having challenges. This is a challenge. Like he was just very, very PC about it. Yet he was still critical, which I think that was the big difference in the two. So, I
yeah,
think,
it's a very interesting like. There's a big distinction there
It's
between
interesting
those
when you
two, and they both worked. It
Yeah.
just
no, don't get me wrong. As a fan, I love Redding doing it. And I wish he had not apologized, to be very clear about. But I know why he did it, and I don't think he got pressure from anybody. He probably had a good buddy or a mentor suggest it, and he probably did it. But I almost
Chiara.
wish. Yeah, it might have been. It was like, hey, you wanted
The
to stay
Chiara trying to
right.
win him back is the subtext of the whole show that we're selling, right? The show is hijinks of prepubescent boys, like the hijinks of man boys. But in the back of the show, the subtext is like this true love. Two people who are meant to be together, but circumstance won't allow it to happen, right? They're
forbidden.
It's forbidden, right? I mean, you're talking about star-crossed lovers, son.
Did you just think this up right now when I said the word Chiara?
Maybe.
Holy,
maybe I drank this whole
why
bottle.
are you not a writer for fucking NBC already? Like, I will be your producer.
This is the
You write the
subtext.
shows.
The first couple
keep trying to
episodes,
talk
you'll
him
see
into it.
Scott, right? You'll show up at like the world's largest dildo. Because they have to go to the world's largest dildo in like Knoxville, Tennessee, right? They'll be like, we got to see the biggest dildo. And then he'll like see his phone and he'll look at it. And there'll be like a weird look on his face. And they'll zoom up on it. And then like in episode 2, he'll like something on Chiara's Instagram, but like a deep a like from like 100 weeks ago, right? Like her doing something like all nice, right? Like maybe holding a baby, like her friend's baby, or like petting a dog.
No, it'll be with the goat. It'll be a picture with the goat.
Exactly. Right. He won't like the pictures of her in thongs with other whatever. Like he'll like something like sweet. And like it'll build and build. Then he'll get like a call, right? And he'll leave, and he'll be like, and then like the subtitles along the bottom will say like something inaudible, I love you, right? And then like the whole subtext will be that, and the end of the season will be him getting his first win, and the very end he gets the first win, like at Sonoma. It's fucking great, and then he looks off in the stands, and there's Chiara.
Oh man, she came
Yeah,
over
Kev,
too.
The nice thing is we wrote it down, or it's recorded now. So copyright Kevin writing at BrotoGP.
Fuck
BrotoGP
money. I don't need to
Productions.
copyright it. Just get it done for the
Make it
sake
work.
of all the fucking.
Just be happy. Yeah, just pure
Yeah,
happy.
that's true.
And
Just
enjoyment.
freaking pure happiness. Just art, man. I don't make paintings so I could sell them. I make paintings like this one right here on the back of my wall just because like it's fucking fun to do, man. Like you gotta like just create for the sake of creation.
All right, we're
Rob's like, I don't know how to respond to this.
That's deep.
I don't know how to respond. No, we're moving on. Yeah, artist Kev showed up and he went deep.
Seriously.
I feel like we missed our chance to talk about Moto 2,
yeah.
but it's okay. You know what happened, and you watched the race. If you haven't watched the race, go watch it. It was amazing.
Kickoff like Pecco, and that was it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show the video clip of Pecco, and someone tell me how you felt about the last lap. Come on.
I jizzed in my pants. It was fucking awesome. Austria is a weird track. You look at the track layout and you think, wow, it's boring as fuck, but it continually produces good racing. And Pecco's performance this last race on that final lap just proves to me that, like, I hate to say it because I love the fireman, take that GP19 factory away from him and give it to Pecco. Straight up. Like, I do not want to see a talent like this, a dominant Moto2 champion, clearly going to be the champion, a winner from lap to lap, lap from come from behind through the field, battling against another top tier talent. There is no reason to saddle this kid on like a random rookie or give him a factory bike right away. I don't give a fuck. Like,
You
sorry,
said fireman. I was very confused. You meant policia, right?
Policia.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because so he's going to be on the year-old bike, and even Jack Miller is going to have the latest GP19 in his team. Which would you want him to go straight to the factory team? Would you be more happy with him getting the GP19?
Yes, I mean, look, Jack Miller's cool. He won one race. He drank out of a boot. He's entertaining, but Pecco is the real deal. And when I look at who can dethrone Marquez, who can take it to Marquez, it's not Jack. Sorry, man. Like, you're cool. Come on the show and prove me wrong.
Everyone, actually, that's an open invitation to anyone, by the way. Come on the show and prove us wrong.
Right. Not anyone. Marc Marquez, you're not allowed on this show. Fuck you. Fuck Repsol.
You sure? You sure?
The amount of straight cred I would get if I turned down a Marc Marquez interview would be so fucking good. I would take the call and just put it on the story. It's like every Wednesday. The time I told Marquez to eat shit.
I would be disappointed in you. I would want the interview. Be like, hey.
All right.
Let me ask you something, Marquez.
He'll come on a tech tape.
When you have to pee, do your balls swell? Because pee is in the balls.
Yeah. They grow exponentially.
Kev, don't overdo it. It's going to end up on the don't talk list. No, okay. I can't. Yeah, whatever.
All
right.
I just like Alex Marquez trying to get back on the bike and then stalling it out and then crashing again.
I don't think he stalled it. I think he just fell over in the grass.
Just tipped over.
I actually do have the video of him crashing here, but I think I cut it off before he picked the bike back up.
Like they push him for a second, and then he like bump starts and then it falls.
I mean, that's the thing, right? He's not his older brother. He can't just throw it up the inside of someone in the final corner and come out on top. What does he do? He runs way wide. He tries to save it in the grass. Yeah, we lost Ev. Whatever, he gone.
He gone.
We're gonna get rid of him.
He gone just like Marquez, bro. Where'd he go? I don't know. But there's still someone holding like an Everett Dittman like flag at the finish line, trying to wave it and be like, "Where you at, son?"
Now he's back.
I have no idea what just happened. It totally just shut down.
Neither did Alex Marquez.
It just crashed.
And that's the problem. That's why Alex Marquez is Alex Marquez. All right, we're gonna do some listener questions real fast. We already did one of them from Danny Molly.
Okay. I'm ready.
What do I got here?
Give me the good
ones. I got
ones.
two here about Yamaha.
Okay.
We'll do this one first. Kind of serious. Do you think Valet and Mavericks?
Hold on. I'm gonna put my serious face on.
It's not that serious.
Hold up.
It's not that serious.
Hold up.
Do you think Valet and Mavericks sandbagged Austria to force Yamaha to fix their shit?
No.
Kev is shaking his head no. Everett's saying no right off the bat. Can someone tell me why?
I think Yamaha sandbagged their shit.
Really?
Oh yeah, they knew they already lost. Why would you put money into it? Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Holy that's some steep allegations there, Ev.
Dude, prove me wrong. Change my mind.
Yeah, change your mind. How am I going to change your mind on that one?
Think about it. You're Yamaha. I think you're not even in the contention. Like, why would you continue to really try all that hard?
So you think the mechanics, the crew chiefs, the data technicians that were at the track and back at Yamaha headquarters, when they looked at the data, they were just like, nah, like they're going to complain no matter what. So I'm not going to stay late tonight.
No, I mean that's all kind of a given. They're going to all do their thing, but something about the bike and the setup and whether they didn't bring new parts and they knew they'd be, knife in a gunfight at this track. Like they didn't go well here last year either, if I remember right.
Rossi was hoping to do better.
The track that just fucking exacerbates everything every problem they have. Do I think they sandbag? No. Do I think maybe they didn't try quite as hard? Maybe like it's hard to stay inspired when like the best you can do is sixth. You know what I mean, or fifth.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me because I see Maverick like start terribly and then put in race winning lap times at the end and claw his way back. He's not a quitter. You know what I mean? Like Yamaha apologized. Like there's no way they sandbagged and then showed up with egg all over their face and apologized to everyone. Like that was some fucked up stuff.
Well,
I mean,
so
that
wait,
was some weird seppuku. Like I can't believe they did that. Like
I'm sorry, really quick. That is the most classiest thing they can do because unlike Aprilia, who left it to Scott Redding to vent, they did the right thing by their riders and said, "Look, we brought a shit bike and a shit package, and that's why our guys didn't perform." Aprilia should be doing the same thing every fucking weekend.
I don't know every weekend, but some acknowledgement. You know, I just think that neither Valentino nor Maverick look like guys who aren't trying because they clearly, you know, Maverick is putting in, you know, fast ass laps at the end to get fifth and come back from like 13th. The bike, just everything about Austria is horrible for the current problems they're having. Yeah, was it classy? I think it was cool. It's definitely unprecedented.
I think it's more about
and for a Japanese factory.
It's more about expectations, though.
Yeah.
But why they did it is more about expectations, right? Like compared to Aprilia, no one expects Aprilia to be running up front. Like they expect Aleix to occasionally get a top 10 and Redding to be behind him. But with Yamaha, everyone expects them to be fighting for wins, and they've now publicly identified issues. So what's left after that? Like, it seems like when the results get even worse, like, okay, you apologize. I mean, Honda would never have done it. HRC never would have. But it was cool for Yamaha to see it, to do it.
I hope that means that the culture of Yamaha is saying that, like, right, we talk about HRC and Repsol, they're so perfect corporate manufacturer, they will never admit fault, all that. Like, they let Valentino go because, Valentino, like, they were trying to take all the credit for the bike and all that stuff. And even when they poached Casey Stoner, they didn't really make a story, then they let Casey Stoner go back to Ducati because Ducati was sort of like, it was you that got us this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By Yamaha admitting that, I hope what it was okay, Maverick, like, we know you can win and we know you were right. You know, Valentino said, look, I know what the problem is. I've been asking for it for a year. That was like all my paraphrased, the quote. To me, it's, it's like the weird Austria apology tour that we saw with Yamaha and then Redding and all this stuff. I hope what it means is, look, we're working on it hard to bear with us. I had a couple weird questions about, like, do you think that they're intentionally sandbagging to, like, get Rossi out? No, because Valentino Rossi winning one race is fucking gigantic for the series.
Yeah, and he's gonna stay wherever the fuck he wants to be. So it doesn't.
And there's no way that they would sandbag the Yamaha themselves to Valentino, knowing what Valentino has created with the VR46 Academy. You see it. No Spanish rider has won a Moto2 race yet, past halfway through the season, and knowing what they have with him long term, I think that they really kind of like fucking lost their way. And the first step towards admitting you're addicted to heroin, black tar heroin, is that, like, you admit you're addicted to black tar heroin. You know what I mean? For them, their black tar heroin is thinking they can figure out Magnetti Morelli by themselves. You can't, dog.
With a too light crankshaft, apparently.
Me and Rob are starting the Rob Academy for Magnetti Morelli. We're sponsored.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna get me hired over there or something, right? And they're gonna be classes. Let's do it. Yeah. All right, next question.
Wait.
SV wants to...
Wait. I got the question. Yeah, real quick. It's a really quick question. Kevin, what happened to the bottle of red wine that I gave you after the race weekend? That's the listener question.
By gave you mean I stole from the sweet, like, 1992 RV that we rocked. I drank the whole thing Saturday night, like, straight through. It was a Bogle Zinfandel. You can look
it was a $12 bottle.
It was an old $12. I mean, fuck, man, I got to put out for you after that. I drank the whole thing straight. Like, Like this, I had a full on like Bordeaux glass and just bam, dog. And by Bordeaux glass, what I mean is I drank red wine out of like a weird teal tiki cup that I got my strawberry daiquiri out of. I just poured the whole thing in and dropped it.
That was the party
You
cup.
really like that cup.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, no, back to the listener questions. Hawkeye SV wants to know, does George's small head in relation to the rest of his body and his dad bod affect the weight balance of the bike and allow him to run the soft front tire? And he specifically said this was for me, so I'm just going to go with yes. We're just right out with it.
Nah, I feel
say the second part of that.
To break down a tech tape, explain to me via diagrams, not unlike the traction circle, about how his head is precisely 13.8% too small for his body and how that actually gives him an aerodynamic advantage.
No.
I think it wasn't 13.8%. It used to be like 5% too small, and then his body got slightly larger because he was trying to gain more strength in his core to wrestle the Ducati. But now it's 13.8%. And so the thing about motorcycles, the most unaerodynamic part of them is actually the tail, because you got all this front fairing and rider up front, and then there's nothing behind it. So the airflow can't go around the motorcycle effectively, and you have this huge wake behind the motorcycle. So if you got a big dad bod back there, you take up some of that wake, and maybe you go a little faster. It also shifts the weight bias further back.
I was going to do it if you weren't. The CG. He has lower CG.
No, the CG would be higher. It's higher.
Really?
Because the rider's CG is above the motorcycle CG. So technically the motorcycle pitches forward and backwards more. But it is further back.
Kev is going to explain real quick for not everyone that knows. It's not actually how smooth the front air is, but how turbulent the rear of the air is that causes
for a motorcycle.
For a motorcycle, title of Rob's sex tape.
Title of Rob's sex tech tape.
Dirty rear, title of Rob's sex tape. But like, I feel like what happens is, like, you look at Marc Marquez, he's all chiseled and athletic. He's got all these ridges, right? Like his abs and stuff. That makes dirty air. Jorge is just like smooth and perfect and round. He creates such smooth air behind the bike. The key to being successful in motorsport is dad bod.
I mean, Jorge's the first one.
Who had the greatest? No, he's not the first one. I'm going to date myself.
Who's the first one?
Ev. Put your thinking cap on for a second.
He has it on.
Who would show up in AMA with the greatest dad gut you ever saw, randomly pull like pole position laps out of nowhere, pure talent? You're like, where'd they come from? Motherfucking Anthony Gobert.
Oh,
you know who I'm talking about?
Oh,
he had a fucking dad bod for days.
The Go Show.
The Go Show. That was beer earned.
Rob, do you even know about him?
No. I thought you were going to say Larry Pegram.
No. I'm talking about
he was in the right strata. Dude, go do your homework on Anthony Gobert. That guy is a fucking...
Y'all say that Casey Stoner is the most naturally talented rider there ever was in the grid, but ask any rider and they will tell you without a doubt it was Gobert. It was the Go Show.
It was Gobert. Drugs.
All right.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I know cocaine's a hell of a drug. That's all I got to say.
I feel like that was a different time.
Oh, it was.
All right.
As Valentino said, when it was more a romantic.
Fucking Italians. Speed Lab Garage would like to know tire compound choices and how Jafar was able to keep from shooting his load too early. So that is not phrased as a question, which we had problems with a year ago, but we'll go with it.
Props for the Jafar reference. For y'all that ask me why I call him Jafar, fuck you.
Because I want to.
So the one thing that you need to understand with the tire compound choices with Michelin is they're not that far apart.
No.
We're not talking, obviously... I think in this round, I actually don't remember if anyone ran the hard front tire, but even Marquez didn't want it. So the medium and the soft likely weren't that far apart. The hard was too hard for Marquez. The temperatures weren't super high. The track is really hard braking, but that wears the tire in the middle for the front at the very least, and not as much on the sides as maybe like a fast flowing corner. But to continue that one, how he was able to not shoot his load too early. Did you watch the race? He wasn't battling with Marquez the whole time.
He just fucking hunkered down in second and third and just chilled for the first half of the race.
Exactly. The main thing is
he was dog. He had his heads up. He was probably watching, like, checking Stranger Things, just like seeing what was up with him, of course,
playing with his dash and his map 8 and like whatever.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? Jorge was classically known at Yamaha for looking super lazy on the motorcycle and for not looking that fast. Generally, being lazy on the bike means you're not stressing the tires, you're not tiring yourself out, and you're having a pretty solid race.
And he was digesting that massive burrito you ate at lunch.
Yeah, right. Does he still do his like post-race bathroom or pre-race bathroom trip? I haven't seen.
He's got to drain his balls.
Everybody.
God damn it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, here's
Jorge
the thing,
was
like, that style is very Bruce Lee, right? Like, be like water, you don't, like, be smooth, be loose. Rigidness causes friction. Friction causes tire wear. Like, that's why he doesn't want to get tired. That's why he wants the tank to allow him to be loose and free flowing, because what has happened right now by moving to Ducati and learning is he's learning to become formless. He's not letting himself to one style. Haven't you seen Bloodsport, son? To keep an open mind. That's a Bloodsport reference, a deep, deep Bloodsport reference. Forrest Whitaker's in that movie. He won an Oscar.
Wasn't Bloodsport Van Damme?
Yes, it was. What do you mean, was it?
But
I'm not.
Forrest Whitaker's in that movie?
Forrest Whitaker plays the FBI agent that's sent to pick up Frank Dukes from the Kumite because he's too important to lose. So what Jorge has learned is that instead of having only a style, he's formless, he's shapeless, he crashes like water if he needs to, he flows around the rock, but let me get philosophical for a second, Rob. If the fucking river is going down, it doesn't try to force itself through the rock. It goes around the rock. But over time, methodically, consistently, without pressure, without rigidity, it'll put a hole right through that rock. And it'll make a beautiful arch that we all look at and gawk, and the sun will rise through that arch, and the yellow and the orange Repsol rays will flow through the arch, and we will realize he's the Jesus.
Dude, you know what? It's dawning on me, and it's so
I'm
fucking
the perfect amount of drunk.
Dude, Kev, you are a total closet Lorenzo fan. You are.
Only since last episode.
You could say I'm in the closet.
Totally, dude. You are. It's so weird because you used to hate him so much.
R. Kelly and Tom Cruise in there with you too
now.
He might.
Pissing out of balls. So yeah,
that's what he's checking on his phone. All right, we got one more. Wait, did we finish off that one? Shooting his load too early. Yeah, one other point.
Did he shoot his load too early?
Wow.
Oh, the colon. No. Yeah, okay. The last part about that is Marquez wasn't battling, or Jorge wasn't battling with Marquez, right? He was 1 second back. He could run the exact race he wanted to be able to accomplish his style and to not load the tire. Unlike Dovizioso, who was trying to get by Jorge the whole time and wasted his tires.
He let the race come to him. Yeah.
Let the race come to him, react. He's a counterpuncher. The best boxers in history were all counterpunchers. Let them come to you and take it out. There he is, counterpuncher, dog.
All right, last one. Moto Road Race News.
I don't want it to be the last one. Do two more.
It's the last one. I no, that's it. Who feels worse? Yamaha electronics engineers for creating a mid-packer out of Vinales, or Ducati for prematurely canning Jorge?
Fuck.
All right, Everett, you got to go first.
I literally am.
Everett's got to go first.
My gut's telling me the engineers of Vinales. That's my gut.
Give me one sentence why.
I just feel like that should have been a fucking given. The guy's a top talent, and they clearly are just squandering him.
He showed up on the bike and won 3 of the first 5 races, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to listen to him." I mean,
It's bad.
I mean, if you look at like when Valentino showed up in 2004, yeah, he won in Kyalami in South Africa, but then he didn't win for a while. He famously rode in Mugello, one of my favorite one-off helmets, where he had the wooden medal, the like joke that fourth is the wood medal, right? That like he was so successful. He was more successful in his first 5 races than some of the greatest Yamaha riders in history, and they apparently didn't listen to him. And then their greatest rider they've ever had, they didn't listen to either. So who has more egg on their face? I mean, Ducati, they fucked up. They signed too early. They got rid of him before letting him grow into his own. But again, we said like there was no sign that suddenly he was going to start winning.
Yeah. The timing was so fucking weird.
Yeah, the timing. Everyone is so obsessed with finding the next Marquez. I mean, look at Joan Mir, right? He still ain't sniffing the front. You know, we said he was going to win 1 or 2 races, but he certainly, since he signed Suzuki, isn't looking like the next big thing anymore. And yet you see Pecco Oliveira are like, you're telling me that Suzuki is now, I mean, you talk about, does Ducati have egg on their face? Suzuki decided to go with Mir instead of fucking Jorge. Like that's the bigger like mistake. That's the bigger regret, is that Suzuki's saying, well, shit, look at this guy. He can fucking win if he puts it down. If we give him the right parts, he will win.
They don't want to pay him.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with the Yamaha electronics engineers. It's just not even the mid pack of Vinales. It's the fact that they made excuses. Like they brought up the crankshaft weight, effectively the only thing that one of the only things they can't change on the bike. Like make it work. Work on the things that you know you can accomplish. Don't expend energy telling us that there's something you can't change.
And it's super convenient to bring up the one thing you can't change. Oh man, that crankshaft is fucked. It's like 8 grams too heavy. It's 8 grams too light, whatever it is. Sorry, bro, can't fix it for you. Wait till next year. It's almost like a cop out.
And I think we said it in the last episode, like they can prove us wrong if they pull out a new motor at Valencia in the post-race test, and it's amazing. And Rossi is at the top of the timesheets the whole day.
Seal a new motor. Let Vinales start from pit lane. He's already starting from 12th and 13th in bullshit. Let him start from pit lane with a new motor at Aragon, the best place to do it, just like Valentino did with fucking Ducati. If you're telling me the crankshaft is the problem, his fucking season is already over. He ain't winning the championship. Let him fucking unseal a motor, start from 6th, fucking take the pit lane penalty, and then go win 2 races.
I gotta look that one up. I don't think they can do that.
I mean, start from last. Take a mulligan. Don't show up if that's what it takes. Who fucking cares? Like he's already lost. 1 win resurrects their series.
You're actually like I think based on your level of inebriation that you're kind of stumbling on it. But why didn't they do that extra motor thing, knowing they'd be so bad?
No, here it is.
This is how by the way, guys, this is how, because I don't want the episode to end. This is how I extend the episode. I get Rob to look up a rule book.
I have to go.
If an inspected engine is found to not comply with the regulations, it will be withdrawn from the allocation and not replaced. So if they literally can't do it.
I'm not saying no. You said does not comply with regulations.
The regulations above. No. So there is an engine development freeze for all the teams that don't have concessions. So for Yamaha, if they change the dimensions or the mass of the crankshaft, that is now an engine that doesn't comply with the regulations. They literally can't run it.
Well, yeah, they'll DQ it and say it needs to be effectively homologated before you can use it again.
Yeah, I mean they remove it too, they don't get a replacement, so they would end up with motorcycle with no engines. It is
the better story for me right now would be put the cheater engine in it, let him win the race and get it withdrawn. He proves to himself he can win with the right materials. You fucking build Maverick back up. Take the fucking black flag. No one gives a fuck.
Actually, so they should do that for Valencia, right? They should do it for Valencia.
Absolutely.
Just be like, say
Just a win.
he's not in, the person behind him in the championship is can't catch up because they're not going to finish better than like third or something, and there's no risk at all. Just do it. Do amazing in the race, take the disqualification at the end, and call it a day.
Yeah.
Right, because all the riders will know. Whether you get black flag, they'll know, fuck, with the right materials, Maverick's going to handle us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, put him on blast. Damn. Whether your fucking disc tape gets played on the radio or not, they still heard it. Hit 'em Up never got played on the radio, but Biggie Small still heard that shit.
All right, I'm closing this one out. Shout out to Andrew Lee, because I think I forgot to mention his first Stock 1000 win this year at Sonoma in MotoAmerica. And he is leading the championship handily, I believe, by 31 points, which is more than a race win with 3 rounds to go. Shout out to him. Sorry for not getting you earlier, Andrew. I know you're going to hate me for it. I got some pictures of him here. You've been seeing him. Thank you to Riders Law again for the race support and for supporting this podcast. Call them if you need legal help. Yeah.
I just, like, after this race, like, at MotoAmerica, just a shout out to, like, the 3, like, original OG riders that were, like, down with us, who we were, what we did, all that. So shout out to Carol, shout out to Josh, shout out to Kyle, like, for sure. Like, everything about what we do, they've been down with since we hooked up and whatever. And I'm just like, big ups to guys like that for supporting who we are, for what we are.
Man. I got the hat for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everyone. Well, this one went long, just like Kevin wanted.
Oh yeah.
Title of Rob Sex Tape.
Ooh.
Thank you.
He's good. He's actually fucking baiting you. It's not good.
Oh, totally bait. Wait, no, I'm not gonna say that.
Totally baiting. Title his Instagram stories. If you don't believe me, go to RW Pierce 13 in Instagram and look it up. Maybe he's baiting, maybe he's not. The only way to find out is to click that profile.
That's terrible. Don't tell people that. They're gonna follow me no matter what. It's all good. All right, everyone. I'm pretty sure we got a week off here before Silverstone. There's no MotoAmerica next weekend. I don't know what we're gonna do.
What did happen was that Everett somehow talked Chris Ulrich into giving me a free 2-up on Sunday. I jumped on the back of that bike. Chris Ulrich turned to me and said, "This one's gonna be aggressive," and we put in some hot laps with big ass 200-pound me on the back. Like, I was like holding on for dear fucking life. It was rad. We have all the video, and Ev and I can tell the whole story. It's fucking ridiculous.
Check out our YouTube for that content. You'll get another segment from me and Dennis probably sometime soon as well about track riding.
Wait, what?
And
about this?
Oh yeah, you did. Whatever. We'll tell you later. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Peace.